Hello and good day. My name is Jonathan Hanley. Today I'll be talking about the responsive web design certification, which you can find on freecodecamp.org. Freecodecamp.org is a great website to learn any kind of coding. The first course they prefer that you take is this one, the responsive web design, as HTML and CSS are very useful languages to use with any of the others you can learn from this website. I have the responsive web design loaded up right now, but if I were to go down here, you can see all the other certifications that they offer, such as JavaScript, front-end development, data visualization, back-end, quality assurance certifications, science computing with Python certification, data analysis with Python certification, information security certification, which I would love to work my way up to, machine learning with Python certification, and coding interviews, which obviously can help you land any job. This is a great tool for finding a future job. But I started with a responsive web design as it was the first recommended one to achieve. I did get the certification and I completed all the courses, and I will go into further detail about them all later, as you can see, and I made the projects as well. So responsive web design covered two different types of codes. It was HTML, or hypertext markup language, and CSS, cascading style sheets, which is the design language of basically any code you use. And hypertext markup language is the code that interacts to display websites. So this is all about designing a website. The first module was about basic HTML and HTML5. HTML5 is the newest form of HTML. Basically, the big difference is with an original HTML. You couldn't do audio and video, but with HTML5 you can. It's just the newest format. HTML was made back in the 90s. This is a lot newer. In this core, as you can see, there's 28 courses, and I completed all of them. And if you would like to go into more detail, you can go to the website and check them out. With CSS, there was 44, and there's plenty of courses, as you can see, that will teach you all about CSS, everything you need to do. Same with HTML. I mean, as you can see, you can import a Google font, size your images. These are great skills to building a website. Same with the HTML skills, such as anchoring an element with a parameter, which you can do for an image, and then you can edit that image and size it up with the CSS. These go hand in hand and are must-knows for any other language. If you want to put it on the internet, especially with HTML, you always use it for that. There's also the applied visual design, which is further going in depth with the CSS. As you can see, all of the different components. This is adjusting a color. That's CSS. Use the CSS linear gradient. As you can see, all relates to CSS. You're going more in depth. I never really understood this before, so this course was really helpful, especially this module. The applied accessibility, adding text to images for the visually impaired. This helped with a lot of impaired, for example, such as color blindness, describing an image. The responsive web principles, it was just reinforcing what you've learned now for simple modules. The Flexbox, it was just making, a grid basically. Oh, that was the next one, my bad. So it was basically you were making a box, and you were such as messing with tweets that were embedded, and positioning between two boxes, and adjusting the size of the box and where the boxes would go. The grid, you were dealing with columns and rows, as we can see down here. The grid column, the row, and we were aligning them certain ways, such as vertically. So it's in a Word doc, and you justify something, center, left, right. You can do all that as well through CSS for an online website. And then the responsive web design projects are what I would like to talk about the most. For these projects, I had to build a tribute page, had to build a survey form, had to build a project landing page, had to build a technical document page, and had to build a personal portfolio web page. I will explain each of these in order. So the first one, the tribute page, I will the code here as well. for the tribute page, you can see an example. For example here, they always showed an example, so they wanted one similar like to this. So they chose Dr. Norman, and what he did was he was part of the Green Revolution, and he made food crops that were far more efficient, such as wheat that had 2 yields per year. So, inspired by this, and to make a web page like this, I chose Kailash Satyarthi. And what he did was he started a movement to march for children to increase their rights, and especially in his home country of India, he has accomplished a lot. For example, he passed a law, or he marched until a law was passed, which heavily prosecuted those who hurt children and punished them severely. He wants to make it so that children are in school rather than working. He wants to eliminate child labor. He wants to improve the lives of children everywhere, not just in India. His marches took, they were across, like it says here, over 103 countries. So I felt he was very justified in making a tribute page too. And if you want to learn more, put a link in this website. And in all these modules, you have to pass all of the tests. And it actually goes into depth. So if you don't pass it, it'll tell you how you messed up. That was very helpful to me when I was making these websites. And the same goes for the other websites. As you can see, I passed all of them. Not at first, obviously. I had to go back again and again. It would be red, and then I have to fix it again. And for the survey, I made a survey for the Purdue School of Business. So you can see, I made it in the colors with the school in the background. I learned how to do all of this from the modules. You can always go back and reread over how they did it. For example, if I forgot something, I would just go back to the responsive web design module, look at the module that corresponded with the topic I was struggling with. Like, for example, putting an image in, you go back and find it, or how to import a Google font, or how to size your image, and you could go back here and find it again. Super helpful. Next page I did was a project for a product landing page with 16 components. I made it on a fake company, helping my dad with remodeling the home, so I made it on homes. I had to learn how to import a YouTube video, how to make little icons over there, all of that. The boxes, everything's through CSS. I made a technical doc on HTML, so that's something we learned about. They did theirs on JavaScript, so I figured HTML would be good, as it is what this whole course was on, besides CSS, which just stylizes the Java. And then the final page was my personal portfolio. Why I did all of this was because I believe it would be very helpful in a job in the future. I think it's a great resume builder, and it can most importantly help me do the other courses. Since CSS is used in the other courses and HTML, this will help me with, for example, the Python course or the cybersecurity course, which I would love to take. I would love to get better in cybersecurity. I really appreciated this opportunity to do this. I mean, with how everything is going on the internet, it's becoming all indefinitely more connected. I see this as a great opportunity to learn how to make websites, which every company uses, and organization, and to understand them in and out was just great. I never went this in depth, and I'm glad I did. I wish I could have honestly taken more classes on this in college so I could have a professor to go to, but I love how they have all the videos and courses, so this will have to do for the time until I go get a master's or something. But again, thank you so much, and I hope you have a great break.